Welcome back to another episode of the DNC Reviews podcast. I'm Arjun, as you know, and as of now, we only have Ronan with us, per usual. Hosung is expected to make an appearance later. If not, don't fret, he'll be there in the next episode. But with all that being said, today is kind of a special day. You know, we've been waiting on this album for a while. I mean, I personally have not been waiting on this album, but I know a lot of people have. It's from arguably the second best artist from TDE, from Top Dog. It is The House is Burning by Isaiah Rashad.
I'll just start. My favorites were Claymore, All Herb. I think I like what you said. And Don't Shoot. The 9-3 freestyle was good for me. My least favorites tended to be the feature, like the songs with features.
Mhm.
Like with Duke Deuce, the Uzi song didn't do it for me. And overall, just the first couple of songs were very, they didn't bring any energy in me. So R.I.P. Young. Until Claymore, I'd say the album was it was kind of low on the energy and it wasn't doing it for me.
Yeah, I agree with that to an extent. Favorite tracks were mostly the singles. I liked Headshots a lot when it came out. I still like it. What You Said, I still play that song all the time. I was like, it's so good. The female vocalist and the second verse caught me so off guard on that song, and her voice is so smooth. That's the only way I could describe most of these songs that I like. They're just so smooth and groovy, and the songs aren't too long, and that's all I need, and then I'm really happy. Love Claymore, though I do feel like Smino carried a little bit. Least favorite tracks, I have to agree with the Uzi song. I have a pet peeve about people rapping off beat a little bit, and Uzi, he felt like he was falling behind a little bit, and then he was a little bit ahead of the beat at sometimes, and it's just the same content. I felt like he did exactly what he did on Tyler's album, but just on Isaiah's album, and it was basically like a copy and paste, but just fit for that specific song and that beat, which I did not really appreciate. And then another track I didn't really like, I felt as if R.I.P. Young, although a lot of people like it, it's one of the more popular ones. It's just too nothing, you know. It's good, it's decent, but nothing really groundbreaking. And I feel like that's a constant sentiment throughout this record. Decent, but people are talking about this half a decade long wait for this new Isaiah Rashad record that's sort of like a unicorn, you never ever see it. And then it finally comes out, and I'm like, all right, I've never been there for a full Isaiah Rashad album, promo, event, release, and here we are, and feels good to be a part of the hype. And then it comes out, and then he literally gets washed by most of the features.
It just sounds lazy to me, and I'm gonna say straight up, it sounds lazy. And even though it doesn't feel like 6 years were put into it, it feels like it was made over 2020 to 21. It feels like the Vince Staples thing we reviewed a couple weeks ago.
And I hear people calling this album of the year on Twitter. I'm like, have you heard Call Me If You Get Lost? That's all I can really say. We're looking at this as an album. It's not a compilation of tracks. It's an album. And when it comes to that, I see no clear themes. I guess that he's talking about, and so at some point I was catching him talking about overcoming his former self, mentions of alcohol addiction, something like that. Other than that, I couldn't really pick apart what he was trying to say. And it's not even we gave this thing one listen and just discarded it. I listened to this thing over the last 2.5 days. I listened to it maybe 4 or 5 times all the way through, taking notes as I went, and never have I went through every single song. And on some songs, I usually I have my notes app open on my Mac as I'm trying to listen to it, and I have the lyrics up so I can follow what's going on. And never have I had a few songs where I just didn't write anything. It's not like the songs weren't good. It's just I just didn't have anything to say about it. All right, cool. That was nice, I guess. I'm just gonna go back to the track list. You have songs like Chad, which was these songs aren't bad. It's just in the context of a full album, you can't up yourself up and say that this is album of the year or that this is even like top three.
That's probably why he released a couple of them as singles, you know.
Yeah, exactly. That's actually a pretty good point. Like the only people who are like riding this album to the very end are people who are Isaiah Rashad fans, or stans, if you will. And like Ronan and I, like we're just like casuals. Like you can call us casuals if you want. But listening to this album front to back, like I did add 2 songs to my playlist, but this is giving me off-season vibes from J. Cole. Give it 4 weeks. No one is going to talk about this album. I haven't heard one person mention the J. Cole album since it dropped. The only song I'm hearing is My Life. Maybe Pride is the Devil. Those are the only 2 songs I hear nowadays. Everything else, scrap it. Trash. That's all I hear now. So I don't want to hear anything about, oh, like that album is in the running for album of the year. It's not. It's not. It's unforgettable. Call Me If You Get Lost, in comparison, and even the Vince Staples record, which I've grown to sort of really like a lot.
Yeah, I've grown to that as well.
I appreciated like, how short it is for some reason.
Yeah.
Like you could just listen to it all the time.
Yeah.
But those albums, they get better with every listen. This album is getting worse with every listen. And the problem with that is that like I just don't get the hype behind Isaiah Rashad. I don't get it. I don't get what people are looking for. I don't get what I sort of get what people see in him. Like I saw these 2 people arguing on Twitter, and then this guy was like, I don't understand what people see in Isaiah Rashad. And then the guy replied to him, he's like, yeah, like I don't really know how to like describe it, but he just has this like this groovy edge to it. Stop trying to make stuff up. Like I
would say like his sound reminds me of like 70s funk and like, you know, like your old African American music a bit. Like there are elements to it which then are probably targeting that specific audience, and that audience is loving it, you know?
Like maybe it's just me. Like maybe it just hasn't clicked with me. But we're here to review albums, you know? And that's not to say I didn't like any of the tracks. Like I hate to say, like I don't want to sound like a hater or anything like that. Like that's not the case. I just, for all the hype that this album has received, him being on Top Dog, him being compared to Kendrick and stuff like that, like I didn't even really like the SZA track that much.
Yeah, it wasn't compared to other SZA features, like songs that have SZA features. This is like you're not gonna remember this one.
Like she barely did a chorus and some background vocals.
Yeah, and
then Black or 6 Lack came in and literally put me to sleep.
Yeah,
he tucked me in and put me to sleep. That's exactly what he did. Like you can't have if you put 3 chill people on a track and it's sort of long, bro. Like I don't.
Dude, honestly, if Isaiah Rashad, I think even himself, if he's smoking a joint listening to this, he'd fall asleep. Like period.
My question is like, is that the goal? Like, is he listening to this going like, in the context of an album, like we're looking at a Fantano 8, Isaiah Rashad is lyrically very mediocre. And then when he's on the song with Uzi, even like I know that song isn't meant to be lyrical, but he's like you know when you're playing basketball and then you start losing on your team and your coach gets you in the huddle and he's like, yo, why are we playing their game? We gotta play our game, you know? I feel like coaches worldwide always say that, like, why are we playing their game? We gotta play our game. That's what Isaiah Rashad is doing on every single one of these tracks. I had no hope for the rest of the album. I was like, if he's gonna try to match these people, because Isaiah Rashad is someone who you'd expect to hold their own, you know? He seems like a really solidified, established guy in the music industry, especially in the hip-hop world. Yeah, I mean, I wish we had more to say about the themes and the concept of this album, but this album is not a concept album. I haven't even thought about what the title means. The house is burning.
No,
I haven't really given it any true thought.
And it's failing. That's like the corniest thing ever then. Like to try and make your album so deep, but then to actually sound very mediocre.
Yeah, like when I heard the title, I was like, yo, this is gonna be like this is gonna be cool. This is like To Pimp a Butterfly all over again. And then he comes through with this, like, this is like the quintessential like chill rap. You know, if you look up chill rap in Apple Music, yeah, honestly, really disappointed. Was looking forward to a good listen that'll keep me entertained for the next few weeks. So yeah, do we have anything else to say?
No, let's just review this thing.
Let's give it a score. Yeah, for me, I feel like I'm gonna repeat a lot of what I just said, but this thing is not great given the context, given the 4 or 5 listens that I gave it. There's just no substance. And I think that people want there to be substance. So then when they listen to this and they're fans of Isaiah Rashad from before, they create substance in their heads. They're like, oh yeah, this is wow, like what he's talking about here. Yeah, this is it. That line. Oh yeah. Oh, and like may I just say, like little to no quotables on this thing. No
Oh, for sure.
quotables.
And
Like
even if
we're
there is, I
not
can't hear it.
like we're not looking at like Matt Comey over here. Every other line is a quotable. We're not looking at like Haram, that album that dropped earlier. That album was great, by the way. This is not at all worth how long these people waited for. But yeah, with all that being said, he got washed by most of the features. Couldn't really hold his own. Lyrical ability was decent but not great. Production was decent but not great. No true standout tracks for me. No one track that really has me like on the floor, you know. Like maybe like a 4.5.
Hope this album kind of grows on me, like takes its time, it matures like fine wine.
Mhm.
But I see there is potential to that, but currently I'm not really enjoying it. And it honestly just sounds like lo-fi music I listen to when I do my homework. It just sounds like background music to me. So
Mhm.
uh, I'm gonna give it a 5 out of 10, which is sad because
Yeah.
like we've been giving out a lot of low scores on our
Yeah.
recent episodes. Yeah,
Yeah, the vibes aren't aren't super wavy over
yeah.
here, but it just had to be said, you know. And I hope that Isaiah Rashad does well in his career. You know, it's not like we're just trying to like bring people down. And who are we to like be like judging people's music? By the way,
Two high
um,
schoolers.
you don't have to
Yeah.
listen to this. Take one listen to my music, and you can like um, sort of like get some perspective. On where I'm coming from, and you could completely discard my opinion. That's totally fine. But yeah, with all that being said, we're everywhere, you know, Spotify, Apple, Amazon Podcasts, YouTube. We should probably get on SoundCloud. Like now that I think about it. But yeah, we are losing subscribers, and that's not okay. That might be because we're not uploading, but you know, Common App is out, you know, like grind season has started. AP scores came out a while ago. Um, like stress is building, man. We're trying our best to get these things out. If Kanye drops, you already know what's gonna happen. If Drake ends up dropping sometime, you already know what's gonna happen. So be sure to look out for new videos. Watch some old videos. Like some of our old videos, I was like watching some of them. Like those reviews are pretty good. Like not as like reviews, but just as like just something to put on while you're eating food or like, you know, you're just like hanging out and you have 10 minutes to spare. So tell your friends, tell your family, tell your dog. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Thank you so much for watching. Isaiah Rashad, hip hop rap, The House is Burning, 2021 release. The review is now over. Thank you and goodbye.